Oh, there it
We're
is.
live.
It's rolling. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Klooby Snacks, straight from Klooby's kitchen, which is like the little studio that we've built on StreamYard. That one link. Anyway, we're here, and it's Sunday night. We're feeling all right. It's looking for casual but heartfelt conversation. By now, I hope everybody knows that Klooby Snacks were originally my wife's homemade cookies, but then I wanted to catch up and have my own Klooby Snacks. So lo and behold, people started writing down things that I would say, motivational quotes. I've been sitting on some of these Klooby Snacks for years, and I finally decided to put them all into a book. And it was miraculous that I got Abby's help. Abby, you've been instrumental in this project. Your voice is all over the book. Your responses to 48 of these babies, and it's just fun every week hanging out with you and reading and seeing what kind of conversation that we get. Now, the previous tips books that I had written, they all had 5 categories, but this project has 4, and it fit right in, Baker's Dozens. So they're like flavors. And right now, we are in loving flavored Klooby Snacks. And today is week number 7 of the year, so Klooby Snack number 7. But let me do a little reset. Before I actually reset, Abby, I can see you still have some makeup on from your show. You just got done performing in 7 shows in 4 days. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yep, I just did. I just was performed in A Wrinkle in Time with the theater company that I did my freshman year of high school, and I decided to come back for my second and last show before I graduated. So that was really fun. It was a lot of work. We've been just go. We've had for the past 5. We put the whole show up in 5 weeks, 4-hour rehearsals every day for 5 weeks, 7 shows in 4 days. And we're done today. Here I am with the show makeup still on because.
That's how it is.
That's how it is.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. I was talking to somebody earlier in the week about your pace, like where you're going to college comes up a lot. We know you're going to Fordham University later on this year, but like pace. Like I just can't imagine you not being busy going from thing to thing to thing to thing. It's pretty cool. So thank you. Despite how busy your theater and your senior year and you're here every Sunday night. It's super, super, super cool. So we're gonna do a little review right now of the Ego flavored. We're in the Ego flavored section, little cookie jar there. Shout out to Stella in the Philippines for the interior design. Oh, I'm sorry, loving flavored. That's right.
Duh. Going too fast.
I was going a little too fast.
A little bit.
There we go.
See, loving flavored. I was right.
You got it. Once again, you're right. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to get into this. And by the way, everybody knows I'm Jeff Klubeck, and I'm a soft skills guy, soft skills for strong leaders, teams, and organizations. So this is just really another soft skills book. It's just in the form of motivational quotes. Happen to be co-authored with my daughter, but we're hoping to build this out into like a blog and maybe a Dear Klooby interactive section where people can write in and ask questions, and either me or Abigail or an Integrity Game certified coach can, speak as in the voice of Klooby to give advice to people and just make these concepts, these quotes, these topics, these subjects, loving, ego, discipline, integrity, to make them discussable, right? Make sure that there's a place where people feel that they can talk, right? All right, so let's go ahead and review. The first Klooby Snack in this section was when you have to keep it all together is the best adhesive. And, love is the theme, loving flavored. Then Klooby Snack number 2, how come it's not clicking? What's going on?
It is. It's up.
It's up. And I don't see it on my screen. That's funny. There it is. There it is now. There's a little bit of a delay. I will always love you more than I will ever miss you. Very, very, very interesting conversation we had around that Klooby Snack. And then number 3 is, if it were up to me, it would be called Profrontation. I just like the play on pros and cons and what we're normally supposed to think. But so often the word con is in front of a positive thing, and the negative connotation keeps us from seeing the positives. Anyway, fun little play on the duality there. Then Klooby Snack number 4, I would rather fail. Is that fall? What's going on there? I don't think that's.
It's because it's all caps. So the I. Oh, you didn't put the L right.
Yeah.
You made the L.
Yeah. It looks a little strange.
Well, it's kind of funny because it was a fail, so it was like.
There, it's just, I had to fix it. I'd rather fail in my commitment to loving than succeed in my commitment to suffering. I mean, right there, you see it. So many people they'd rather stay in the suffering than risk the vulnerabilities of being vulnerable. That's what love's all about. We're going to talk about that tonight too. So Klooby Snack number 5, ain't no jive, is it takes as much confidence to be led as it does to lead. that was a fun conversation that we had about the interplay, Abby, about this is my project, but when, I had to make space for you to take us where it was supposed to go. And it's really cool, really cool. And then number 6, when possible, replace statements with questions. This is another Klooby Snack, by the way, Abby, relative to this one. A statement is a press upon, whereas a question is an invitation. Little subtext there. Dig it. And that brings us to Klooby Snack number 7. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
All right, here we go. So drum roll, please. The Klooby Snack's a little wordy this time, but we're going to roll with it. Here we go. Being real is about being truthful to what is known. Being vulnerable, however, is the courage to learn more about what is true. Go ahead, Abby.
As my dad has shared, love is the willingness to be vulnerable. Vulnerability, however, like many other concepts, is multi-determined. Willingly putting yourself in exposure to a threat, whether that be a threat to your comfort, security, emotions, safety, or beliefs, is being vulnerable. Knowledge is power. You grow through learning. At the same time, knowledge can be a threat. It poses a possible threat to our sense of self, disproving what we already know or believe to be true. Avoiding to learn or refusing to seek knowledge is an effort to avoid vulnerability. Asking questions, doing research, searching for further truths is a form of vulnerability. When we are persistent in our effort to learn more, our findings may contradict our values, pre-existing beliefs, or break our bubble of comfort. I have always struggled with keeping my room clean. To me, the chaos is peaceful, but my dad just labels it as messy. Without even stepping foot in my room, my dad could tell you with 100% certainty that my room is messy. He can choose to stay on the other side of my door, avoiding having to physically indulge in my mess. He's being real and truthful when stating that my room is messy, but puts himself in a vulnerable position when opening the door and stepping foot into my mess. What does happen when he does choose to open the door, he sees towels on my floor, clothes and hangers scattered across the room, and cups I was too lazy to bring downstairs. This Klooby Snack is exactly that. You can know what's on the other side of the door without even having to open it. Opening the door and stepping inside is vulnerability. Some people prefer to keep their doors shut, avoiding possible harm, discomfort, confrontation. However, growth, love, and connection require open doors.
All right. Well, here's the good thing. It's like I'm reading along with it, right? And I see what you're writing here, and it's beautiful. The problem is there's a little bit of a delay, so I didn't hear like a fluid read. So I don't know if you can like press pause on your microphone and shout out to the other people in the family to get off their Wi-Fi. I don't know if that'll help us or not, but there's a lot of. I'm sorry.
We can text the family group chat.
Okay. All right. See what kind of help we get there. We'll struggle through. But interestingly, Abby, tonight is the first night this year. It took 7 weeks for it to happen, where it's just me and you. There's nobody else joining tonight,
yep.
Right? And while for people like you and I, that's an automatic sadness because we like people and we're energized by people and so forth. I think there's something cool about it, right? Where we can be brief. We don't have to necessarily go out of our way to make sure everybody gets screen time, etc. On a night where we're maybe having not the cleanest technical time of it all. But let me ask, is there any, as you read through this snack, is there anything that comes to mind? One of the fun things we've talked about from week to week is how different your answers might be today than when you wrote it. But I'm not so sure in this case because the platitudes are so kind of universal. What do you think?
I don't think there's anything that's really changed about how I see the Klooby Snack, but what I can tell you is when I was reading this and when I looked over it before we went on, I was like, wow, this was a creative one. This was good because I was talking about the open doors as a metaphor, but also as an anecdote, because I think that is very fitting and how I don't know if I'm am I glitching? You're frozen. I don't know if I'm frozen. But am I frozen? I don't know. But how what's it called? You can know what's on the other side of a door without having to open it, and how some people choose to just leave the door closed and either assume or just whatever. And that's like the door metaphorically, but just you can assume what's going on, so they don't need to actually step in and intervene or whatever, or try to learn more because their assumptions are comforting or whatever. but how opening the door, even though that can bring harm or whatever, that's the being vulnerable. And when I was reading this, I was like, wow, that I was giving props to myself, because I agree with that. Sometimes I don't disagree with what I said now, and there's no like really difference in how I view this, but I would just like to applaud myself for that personally.
Well, yeah. Let me go just one level deeper. You're applauding yourself because I think your applause is deserved on several levels. So I want to make sure I know what you're talking about. For the insight or for the self-reflection, like the courage to apply it, the insight to oneself.
Well, there's that. Yes, because there was a lot of that was me being vulnerable in that, having to admit that like my room's messy, whatever, even though I like the mess, whatever. But I just think that the way that anecdote was woven in metaphorically, I like that, how vulnerability requires open doors, and I agree with that, and I like that.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you're doing this, but do you have a pen handy when we're reading the snacks, and do you like write into the book and like mark off things that you wrote because they can be standalone Klooby snacks in and of themselves?
I should do that. I feel like I think something we could do, because we've talked about like making another version where it's my Klooby snacks, or it's a combination of our Klooby snacks. But I think that it wouldn't even require any extra. I don't know. I feel like if we just went through this book and underlined or highlighted or starred things that are already written, there's so many things that have stemmed from this book. You know what I mean? It's like me tweaking your recipe has made
and yeah, like I said, one of the I've got an intern this semester, Melody, and she wants to put together the Klooby Snack blog. So to the degree that we constantly are recycling, repurposing, and getting all the standalone pieces of content out of the project, we might have something more robust, because within this book, it's me and you. It's very self-contained. It's very static, right? But when we go digital, now we can get interactive, and then you follow, and your voice is going to be so important to certain generations, etc. But I'll tell you, from my perspective, and it's obviously, as your dad, you're trying to show like shine the light on you, and capture and record and do these sessions and document the whole thing, and just enjoy time with you, by the way. I try to like be selfless and point the whole limelight towards you. But one of the things I'm really, loving in here is, and this is a benefit to me, a gift to me on the whole project, is how much of my voice is in your head, and how you are restating things I know I've taught you. And so, my dad's love is the willingness to be vulnerable. Of course, I got that definition from N. Scott Peck in The Road Less Traveled, one of my favorite books. So it's wonderful for me to like, not playing on like the our stubborn disposition towards each other, our default interaction, the stubbornness and so forth, and how you'll never give in and recognize. But forget about all of that. It's just really cool in and of itself. When you're understanding love is the willingness to be vulnerable. You're able to recognize when you're not being willing to be vulnerable yourself, right? Or when others face those choices in interacting with you. Like, it's just comforting for me to see a level of maturation in you. You have an opportunity to like I get accused of being wise, right? But your curve is accelerated. You know what I mean? Like, because these things I was nowhere close to understanding until maybe my 30s.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a wonderful thing for me. What else comes to mind for you? Yeah.
I've noticed, going off of what you were saying, I noticed that too. Sometimes like I'll be reading what I've not even just with this book, just in general. There's a lot of times where anytime somebody tells me like, oh, like you're a lot like your dad, blah, 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 I'm just like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. But then in conversation, I'll be talking and I'm like, wow, like I hear you through me so much with a lot of things, not even just with stuff related to this, but with the sayings. When you pointed out how I say, oh, like that's so funny, and like that came from you. But there's those little things that I've taken from you, ranging from sayings to Klooby Snacks to just knowledge or different morals that I've stuff like that. But a lot of it kind of, this book is proof of that. That like I am my daughter, and there's so much like when I'm reading my own stuff, because I wrote this stuff a while ago, and even if it's like I still agree and I still have the same opinions as what I wrote. But one thing I kind of like forget until I reread it is like, it's like, wow, like I sound a lot like you, and I picked up a lot from you through just hearing these things or hearing bits and pieces of your calls or just stuff like that. I've picked up a lot of it and I've applied it to my own life outside of our relationship, just in general, with my other relationships or
a lot of
that.
Yeah, a lot of parents, and I would have to say myself included, struggle with the, oh my God, my kids are going off to college. Oh my God, my kids are moving out, right? And I, like I've said before in other sessions, I've coached people. I remember 10, 15 years ago, coaching parents that were having the separation anxiety of having to re-identify themselves or get ready for life without, like their whole life is like, all I know is my parent. And, like single parent, imagine a single mom. And she had to do it all on her own, like the corporate career and then the single mom. And right. And that kid, that 18-year-old is getting ready to go off. And it's like, what? Whoa. And I remember even though AJ was close by, I still struggled when he left, like what's the right amount of space to give? And it's a weird feeling that it's hard to describe.
And
All things involving.
I think it's like it's like the different, like being a parent isn't just the rides to school, the hello morning, whatever, like that still continues when you're not in the house. I think the adjustment is weird. I think it's going to be weird. I mean, it's going to be weird on both parts. It's weird, but
well, I brought up the weirdness of the struggle of the challenge of getting ready to see your kids leave the home. I only brought it up not to focus on the weirdness. I brought it up to say that it's in snacks like tonight or in the project as a whole that I feel safer about it. I'm more at rest. Yeah. I'm more at ease. I'm more confident. I mean, not that I was ever not confident and etc. But it's really, really refreshing knowing that, anyway. So not to be redundant on that, the other point that I wanted to make before we go is I talked about like internally how special this is. This snack is like, oh yeah, I've been a good dad. She's so much of what I've wanted to teach her is coming through. Cool. But then the other thing externally from the world as a whole, what you're talking about here, right? Elaborating on, knowledge can be a threat. Knowledge is power, but it can also be a threat. And you're talking about knowledge is a threat to our comfort zones. Knowledge is a threat to our sense of self, our ego, our values, attitudes, beliefs, right? And so this is a problem in the world, the inability to think critically and to seek new information, especially if it doesn't confirm the bias. So many with the internet and the misinformation and the bots and the AI and the so on and so forth, we are as a society right now challenged like never before in terms of being effective producers and consumers of information. And it's so easy algorithmically for us to lock in on and find a steady diet of confirmation bias through media, etc. Never mind political forces and advertising forces and all the stuff, right? But when we want to get along with people in this world, which at the end of the day is what we still have to do, right? We can see, it's just like, I just hope that on whatever level we're making a contribution, we're waving the flag for critical thinking. We're opening the door. I'm willing to hear what somebody that votes differently than me has to say. I'm willing to open the door. I'm willing to find out why somebody feels this way, etc. The truth has got to be truth. Has got to be truth. This is what we're getting at in this Klooby Snack, right? I'm going to put it back on the board, right? Being real, keeping it real. Hey, I'm just keeping it real, yo. Let's get real. Let's keep it real. Well, hang on. Let's get vulnerable, right? Let's be willing to be uncomfortable with what we may learn, right? Let's seek more information. Let's come to common understandings about what truth is, right? It's getting to the point where politically people are starting to be willing to agree that gravity doesn't exist just because it may fit a political narrative. Like there are people on both sides, left and right, you follow on the far, far, far extremes. And it's just like, hey, gravity works. Can we gotta find things that we can all agree on. Can we look for the truths that are undeniably true? And let's start from there, create some togetherness, and then let's stay curious with and for and about each other. And let's stay loving. These are loving flavored Klooby snacks. So I wanted to thank you for how rewarding it was for me internally, just as dad, as Jeff, to read your words and your response to the snack. But I also, I lock arms with you, Abigail. We're light bearers, right? We want to do good in this world. We want more of a loving vibration in the world, and whatever. This is just a little, little contribution. So I think that I commend you for both of those reasons: an internal, external frame of response to your journal entry on this go round. So what else? Anything else come to mind for you? Because I'm happy to get into the last call. It's kind of cool when it's just me and you. It's so funny. The selfish parent. Like, I get you more all to myself when it's just me and you tonight. Isn't it silly? It's real. I'm just telling you, it's real.
I just I don't know. I don't really need, this is weird because I'm just so not in awe, but I'm reading my own the last paragraph of this. I would just like to read. I think there's Klooby Snacks.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If you are willing to read it again out loud, I am willing to bring it up and show people so they can read along with us. So because and by the way, I don't want you to feel weird about that at all, because I'm the same way. Sometimes I'm going and I'm in rhythm. I've had my coffee or whatever, and I'm reading my word for word, and I'll read. I'm like, whoa, I'm going to read that again. That was good. And I fearlessly just go, because if it's good, it's good. And I think there was a quote I heard the other day that, that it's Dr. Seuss, right? Be yourself, right? Because the people that matter won't mind, and the people that mind don't matter.
That's good.
Get down. Yeah, I love that. And so I always want you to be 100% yourself at all times. All right. So here we go. And you want to go straight to the last paragraph so everybody can see now. You can see the screen. There's the Klooby Snack up there. And then right there, here we go. And we're going to go right here. Ready, word for word. Go ahead.
Okay. This Klooby Snack is exactly that. It went away. Oh, it went away.
There we go.
It's loading. There we go.
It should be back.
It's back. This Klooby Snack is exactly that. You can know what's on the other side of a door without even having to open it. Opening that door and stepping inside, it went away again. There we go. Opening that door and stepping inside is vulnerability. Some people prefer to keep their doors shut, avoiding possible harm, discomfort, confrontation. However, growth, love, and connection require open doors.
Yeah, it's powerful, right? And that's the thing, because the short-sightedness is people believe, or they're not thinking critically or depthfully enough to realize that the real pain, the real harm, the real discomfort that they're bringing on, in exchange for not seeking new information, not being willing to grow, love, connect with others, expand from differing perspectives, and all of the beauty that critical thinking and group communication, group projects, etc. Anyway, I just think it's powerful. I'm glad that you read that again. There was something else I thought was good in here also. And it's right here up front. When we talked about it before, but knowledge is power, but knowledge can be a threat, right?
Yeah.
The sense. Right, that was good stuff. Good.
Yeah, it does. I think.
Right, so the
truth is scary.
All right. Well, hey, another fun session. We're last call. Comments, questions, jokes, riddles, haikus, limericks, or expressions of gratitude.
That's it. I think.
All right. Now look. Here's I think this is interesting. What's that behind you? 7 Klooby Snacks.
Yep.
Right. 45 to go. So it's like all of a sudden we look back and we've got a collection of these done under our belt. Remember when we did the very first one? So
it'd be crazy.
Super fun to do this with you.
Once we finish the first flavor section, Baker's Dozen, that'll be crazy. Once we get over to Ego.
Yeah, that's going to be a milestone. It's going to be literally April before we get there, but because it's like 4 quarters in a year.
Oh wait, yeah.
Like it'll be like the first or second week of April when we switch sections. So it's fun. We're halfway through. Like 13 represents we're over the halfway point of section 1. So it's fun. This is just I've been doing these live streams for 5 years, reading my soft skills tips and other areas. Never, they're all great for different reasons, but this is special, super fun. Abigail, high five. And everybody out there, have yourself a great week, and don't be afraid to join us next week live when we read Klooby Snack number 8 from the loving flavored section of Klooby Snacks. Until then, have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you. Good night.